Have you ever noticed how the world grows strangely quiet after you reveal your deepest wound? In that silence, something unexpected begins to unfold. Some people nod with sympathy, some offer words that disappear as quickly as they arrive, and others quietly collect pieces of your story they were never meant to hold. It is one of life's hardest lessons to learn. Not every ear deserves your truth, and not every heart has the strength to protect it. We often believe that if we explain our pain enough, someone will finally understand it. We hope that if we tell the story one more time, the weight will become lighter. But there are burdens that become heavier each time they are handed to the wrong hands. There are wounds that heal best when they are treated with quiet care instead of public attention. The strongest souls are not always the loudest voices. More often, they are the ones who have learned the sacred discipline of protecting what is still healing. Your struggles are not your identity. They are chapters, not the entire book. When every conversation becomes a rehearsal of your suffering, your spirit can slowly begin to believe that pain is all it has left to offer. Yet within you lives something far greater than your disappointments, your betrayals, your fears, or your losses. There is a quiet strength waiting to rise, but it cannot speak clearly while your energy is consumed by explaining yourself to people who were never meant to carry your story. This is not an invitation to suffer alone. It is an invitation to become wise about where your heart rests. There is a profound difference between seeking healing and seeking an audience. One restores the soul. The other often leaves it exposed. The world is filled with people who can hear your words without ever hearing your heart. And wisdom begins when you recognize that your peace is too valuable to place in careless hands. Today, we are going to explore why silence can become one of your greatest forms of strength, how protecting your inner world allows real healing to begin, and why the greatest answer to your problems is often not another explanation, but the quiet transformation that leaves the world wondering how you became so unshakable. There is a remarkable kind of strength that does not announce itself, does not demand attention, and does not seek applause. It moves quietly through life's storms, protecting what is precious until the time is right. One of the greatest forms of that strength is learning that silence is not weakness. It is protection. Every person experiences seasons of pain, disappointment, fear, and uncertainty. The natural desire is to tell someone, to find relief by speaking every thought and every wound aloud. While trusted support has an important place in healing, there is also profound wisdom in recognizing that not every struggle should become public knowledge. Some battles are sacred, and they deserve the privacy that allows them to heal without the pressure of outside opinions. When you reveal your problems to everyone, you unknowingly place your emotional well-being into the hands of people who may not value it. Some listeners genuinely care, but others may misunderstand, judge, compare, or even use your vulnerability against you. What began as an honest expression of pain can become gossip, criticism, or a story that follows you long after you have moved forward. Your struggle may be temporary, but careless words spoken by others can create lasting impressions. Protecting your story is not about distrusting humanity. It is about respecting the value of your own heart. Silence also gives you room to think clearly. The moment a problem is shared with many people, countless opinions begin to surround it. Every person offers advice based on their own experiences, fears, and beliefs. Soon your own inner voice becomes difficult to hear. Instead of finding clarity, you become overwhelmed by conflicting directions. In quiet moments, however, you create space to reflect honestly. You begin to separate fear from truth, emotion from wisdom, and temporary frustration from lasting reality. Often, the answers you seek become visible only when the noise around you fades away. There is another hidden power in silence. It prevents your identity from becoming attached to your difficulties. If every conversation revolves around your struggles, people may begin to define you by your problems, and eventually you may do the same. Instead of seeing yourself as capable, resilient, and growing, you may start believing you are simply the person who is always struggling. Silence interrupts that cycle. It reminds you that your pain is an experience, not your identity. You are more than the challenges you face. and your future should never be limited by your current circumstances. Choosing silence does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means carefully deciding who has earned the privilege of hearing your deepest thoughts. Trust should be built through consistency, compassion, and integrity, not granted simply because someone is willing to listen. A wise person understands that vulnerability is valuable, and valuable things deserve protection. Just as a gardener shields a young plant from harsh winds until its roots are strong, you must sometimes protect your healing until your spirit is steady enough to withstand outside influence. When you learn to guard your inner life, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your energy shifts from explaining your pain to overcoming it. Instead of searching for validation, you begin building resilience. Instead of depending on sympathy, you cultivate confidence. People may wonder how you remain calm during difficult seasons, unaware that your greatest strength comes from the quiet work taking place within. The victories that grow in silence often become the ones that endure the longest, shaping a character that cannot be shaken by the changing opinions of the world or the temporary storms of life. One of the most important lessons life teaches is that not everyone who listens truly understands. It is easy to assume that sharing your pain will automatically bring comfort, but people receive your story through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, and emotions. Some may genuinely care and offer kindness, while others may hear your words without feeling the weight behind them. There are also those who listen out of curiosity rather than compassion. This is why wisdom is not found in telling everyone your problems, but in carefully choosing those who have earned your trust. Vulnerability is a gift, and gifts should be placed in hands that know how to value them. Many people have good intentions but lack the emotional capacity to carry another person's pain. They may try to fix your situation with simple advice, dismiss your feelings by comparing them to someone else's struggles, or unintentionally make you feel guilty for expressing your emotions. Instead of leaving the conversation feeling understood, you may walk away feeling even more isolated. This does not necessarily make them bad people. It simply means they are unable to provide the kind of support you truly need. Recognizing this difference can save you from unnecessary disappointment. There are also individuals who see vulnerability as an opportunity rather than a responsibility. They collect personal stories, repeat them in other conversations, or quietly use them to shape how others see you. A painful confession shared in confidence can become a source of gossip or judgment when it reaches the wrong ears. This kind of betrayal leaves scars that are often deeper than the original problem itself. It reminds us that trust should never be given merely because someone asks questions or appears interested. Real trust is built over time through loyalty, discretion, and consistent care. Understanding does not always come from words. Sometimes the people who truly care will listen more than they speak. They will not rush to solve your problems or offer quick solutions just to end the conversation. Instead, they create a safe space where your emotions are respected. They remind you through their actions that your struggles do not reduce your worth. These are rare people, and their presence should never be taken for granted. Because they are rare, it becomes even more important not to confuse attention with genuine support. Discernment is the ability to recognize the difference between those who are merely present and those who are truly dependable. It protects your emotional well-being by encouraging you to pause before revealing your deepest battles. Rather than asking, "Who wants to hear my story?" ask yourself, "Who has consistently shown wisdom, compassion, and integrity?" That simple shift changes everything. It moves you away from seeking sympathy and toward building meaningful, trustworthy relationships. Keeping certain struggles private is not about creating walls around your heart. It is about building healthy boundaries that preserve your peace. Every person deserves relationships where honesty is welcomed, but honesty without discernment can leave you exposed. The strongest people are not those who never open up. They are those who know when to speak, what to share, and with whom to share it. They understand that every listener is not a safe place, and every conversation does not require complete transparency. When you begin to practice this kind of wisdom, you stop measuring relationships by how often people listen and start measuring them by how faithfully they protect what you entrust to them. Your confidence grows because you are no longer seeking validation from every voice around you. Instead, you find strength in knowing that your heart is valuable, your story is meaningful, and your deepest struggles deserve to be shared only with those who have proven they will handle them with genuine care and unwavering respect. Pain has a way of demanding attention. It urges you to replay every disappointment, describe every injustice, and search for someone who will fully understand what you have endured. While expressing emotions can be healthy, there comes a point when repeatedly talking about the same problems keeps you emotionally tied to them. Real transformation begins when you redirect your energy from constantly explaining your pain to actively creating a life beyond it. The most powerful response to suffering is not endless discussion, but meaningful action. Every small step toward healing weakens the hold that pain has over your mind and strengthens the person you are becoming. When difficulties arise, it is easy to believe that healing will come from finding the perfect words to describe your experience. Yet healing often comes through choices rather than conversations. Choosing to forgive does not erase the past, but it frees your future from being controlled by it. Choosing to learn from failure does not change what happened, but it changes what happens next. Every decision to move forward becomes a quiet declaration that your circumstances will not define the rest of your life. Pain can become a familiar place. Even though it hurts, there is a strange comfort in returning to the same story because it is known and understood. Growth, however, requires stepping into unfamiliar territory. It asks you to develop new habits, challenge limiting beliefs, and believe that your future can be different from your past. This journey is rarely easy. It demands patience on days when progress feels invisible and courage when old memories try to pull you backward. But every effort you make to grow is an investment in a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Transforming pain into purpose means asking different questions. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you begin asking, "What can this experience teach me?" Instead of focusing only on what was lost, you begin noticing what can still be built. Every hardship carries lessons about resilience, compassion, wisdom, and perseverance. Those lessons often become the very qualities that enable you to help others facing similar struggles. The wounds that once made you feel broken can eventually become the source of your greatest empathy and strength. Purpose grows when your attention shifts from the problem to the possibilities ahead. This does not mean ignoring your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means refusing to allow your difficulties to consume every thought and every conversation. As you invest time in learning new skills, strengthening relationships, caring for your health, or pursuing meaningful goals, your life gradually becomes larger than the pain you once believed would define you forever. The problem may remain part of your story, but it no longer becomes the center of it. There is quiet confidence in people who have learned this lesson. They do not spend all their energy proving how much they have suffered. Instead, they let their actions reveal how much they have grown. Their peace is not the result of an easy life, but of a deliberate choice to keep moving despite disappointment. They understand that every challenge presents an opportunity to build character, deepen wisdom, and discover strengths that could never have emerged in comfortable circumstances. The greatest victories often happen long before anyone else notices them. They begin in the silent moments when you choose discipline over despair, hope over hopelessness, and action over endless complaint. Little by little, those choices reshape your thoughts, your habits, and your future. One day, people may admire your resilience without realizing how many unseen battles you fought to reach that place. Your greatest testimony will not be how often you spoke about your pain, but how faithfully you transformed it into a life marked by purpose, courage, compassion, and enduring strength. Trust is one of the most valuable gifts you can offer another person, yet it is often given too quickly and without careful thought. Many people assume that because someone is friendly, attentive, or willing to listen, they have earned the right to know every detail of their personal struggles. In reality, genuine trust is not built through a single conversation or a shared moment of emotion. It is developed over time through consistent actions, honesty, loyalty, and respect. Choosing the right hearts instead of the largest crowd means understanding that the quality of your relationships matters far more than the quantity of people who know your story. There is a natural desire to be understood, especially during difficult seasons. When life becomes overwhelming, it is tempting to seek comfort from anyone willing to listen. However, not every listener is a safe place. Some people may respond with judgment instead of compassion. Others may minimize your feelings, offer careless advice, or unintentionally make your burden feel even heavier. There are also those who appear supportive in the moment, but later repeat your private struggles as casual conversation. Experiences like these remind us that emotional safety cannot be assumed simply because someone is present. It must be earned through character and consistency. The people who truly deserve your trust often reveal themselves through their actions, long before they hear your deepest struggles. They respect your boundaries without taking offense. They celebrate your successes without jealousy. They remain dependable during difficult moments instead of disappearing when life becomes inconvenient. They listen without rushing to interrupt, criticize, or make everything about themselves. Most importantly, they protect your confidence as carefully as they would protect their own. These are the relationships that create space for genuine healing because they are built on mutual respect rather than temporary curiosity. Choosing the right hearts also requires patience. In a world where people often feel pressure to share every detail of their lives, waiting before opening your heart may seem unusual. Yet patience protects you from unnecessary disappointment. It allows you to observe how people handle responsibility, conflict, and the private matters of others. If someone frequently speaks about another person's secrets, there is little reason to believe they will guard yours differently. Character leaves clues, and wisdom notices them before vulnerability is placed at risk. Healthy relationships are never based solely on emotional closeness. They are strengthened by integrity. A trustworthy person does not use your weaknesses to gain influence over you. They do not remind you of your failures during disagreements or use your painful experiences as tools for manipulation. Instead, they create an environment where honesty feels safe because kindness and respect remain constant. Such relationships are rare, but they are worth waiting for because they nourish the soul rather than draining it. Choosing the right people does not mean shutting everyone out or believing that no one can be trusted. It means developing discernment. Discernment allows you to recognize that every relationship serves a different purpose. Some people are companions for joyful moments. Some are colleagues, some are acquaintances, and a very small number become trusted confidants. Expecting every relationship to carry the weight of your deepest emotions often leads to disappointment. Accepting these differences helps you appreciate people for who they truly are, rather than who you wish they would become. When you become intentional about where you place your trust, you begin protecting your peace with greater wisdom. Your conversations become more meaningful because they are shared with people who genuinely care about your well-being. Instead of seeking comfort from a crowd, you find strength in a few faithful relationships that encourage growth, honesty, and resilience. In the end, it is never the number of people who know your story that determines your healing, but the presence of those rare hearts that handle your truth with compassion, loyalty, grace, and unwavering care. Many people feel an overwhelming need to explain themselves whenever life becomes difficult. They want others to understand why they failed, why they struggled, or why they made certain decisions. While there are moments when honest communication is necessary, constantly explaining your hardships can quietly consume the energy that could have been used to build a better future. The truth is that your future will always speak more powerfully than your struggles. A transformed life carries a message that words alone can never fully express. People may question your journey today, but lasting growth will answer those questions more convincingly than any explanation ever could. Every challenge you face has the potential to shape your character. Pain can either become a permanent identity or a temporary teacher. When you choose to focus on becoming stronger rather than proving yourself to everyone around you, your perspective begins to change. You stop measuring your worth by how many people understand your circumstances and start measuring it by the progress you make despite them. That shift is incredibly powerful because it places your attention on what you can control instead of what others choose to believe. There will always be people who misunderstand your decisions, judge your silence, or create stories about your life without knowing the truth. Trying to correct every misunderstanding is an exhausting task with no lasting reward. Even after hearing your explanation, some people will continue to believe what they have already decided. Instead of chasing acceptance from every direction, invest your time in becoming the kind of persons whose actions naturally reflect honesty, resilience, and integrity. A life lived with consistency eventually becomes its own evidence. Growth often happens quietly. A seed does not announce the moment it begins to grow beneath the soil. Yet, one day everyone can see the tree it has become. In the same way, your greatest victories may develop in private. The habits you build, the discipline you practice, the wisdom you gain, and the courage you cultivate often remain invisible for a long time. However, when those quiet efforts mature into visible strength, they become impossible to ignore. Your future is built through these unseen moments, not through endless discussions about your present difficulties. People naturally respect transformation more than explanation. Hearing someone describe their dreams is inspiring, but witnessing those dreams become reality leaves a much deeper impression. The same principle applies to personal struggles. Telling everyone how determined you are has far less impact than quietly demonstrating perseverance through your actions. Every obstacle you overcome adds another chapter to your story of resilience. Over time, your character becomes a testimony that no argument can easily dismiss. This does not mean pretending that life has been easy or denying the hardships you have experienced. Your struggles matter because they shape the person you are becoming. However, they should never become the loudest voice in your life. The purpose of every difficult season is not to keep you trapped in constant explanation, but to prepare you for greater wisdom, deeper compassion, and stronger faith in your ability to endure. When you carry those qualities into your future, they become visible to everyone you encounter, without the need for lengthy descriptions. The most inspiring people are often those who let their lives reveal their strength. They do not seek admiration by recounting every painful chapter. Instead, they quietly continue building, learning, healing, and growing. Their confidence comes from knowing that every step forward speaks louder than every setback behind them. In the end, the world may remember your achievements, your kindness, your perseverance, and your courage far more than it remembers the problems you once faced, because a future shaped by resilience will always outshine a past marked by hardship and uncertainty, leaving behind a legacy of hope, wisdom, quiet confidence, and lasting purpose.